Welcome to the Channeling Spirit Virtual Summit, a platform where we have invited Spirit to share messages, healings, and transmissions with all of us. May this energetic experience help us to expand our awareness and to deepen the relationship we have with our higher self, our spiritual team, and with Source, however we define them. Thank you for being here and for taking part in this amazing journey. Welcome back to the Channeling Spirit Virtual Summit. We are Season 5, Episode 2 with Katherine Flynn. She was with us a couple seasons ago. Katherine tends to channel the Druids. We had a lovely conversation with her and them a couple seasons back. Really excited to see what comes forward today. So I will let Katherine introduce herself to you, and then we will just kind of go from there.
Well, thank you, Daniel. So as you had said, I do channel Druids. I channel a few other consciousnesses, but that's kind of the main one that I work with. Really within a connection to the earth, your life purpose, how we're spiritual beings, but we chose to incarnate into this spiritual body. And so really working with people on their life path through intuitive life purpose coaching, through channeling sessions. I work with a lot of energy healing and portals and that kind of thing as well. So I've been doing this for 8, 9, 10 years. It's hard to keep track anymore, but it's been fun and ever changing, which is great.
Awesome. And so, as always, for people that are listening, feel free to ask questions along the way, interact. I will usually if the Druids are channeling, I usually feel for whether or not they're open to take questions directly, or if they want me to be the filter for any questions. So I'll let them kind of direct that for us. But if there's any questions that you might have along the way, feel free to put it in the chat, raise your hand. So Katherine, I don't know if there's something that you wanted to kind of talk about before we bring in your friends, or kind of what you might have in mind to kind of share with us about connecting to earth and your heart center.
I think for everyone, this is, it's a topic that we all look at, our heart center. How do we open it up? So many are closed. We've got this really strong eclipse happening today, which I don't know if it's hitting everyone else the way it's hitting me, but I felt like I got hit with a ton of bricks this morning. I was like, whoa, where's this coming from? So it's about really understanding that the human experience is something that not every soul is able to have. And that within this heart center is that the more that we get beat up through being human, or we have people do things to us, or we trigger, it's kind of like we close off. So it's about understanding that heart center can be our connection back to that oneness and that love and that understanding that that's where we come from. But we're inhabiting a human experience with duality and with all other things that really help us to grow and learn and experience while we're here. So I'm interested to see what the Druids are going to say, because I know that it's something that has come up in the past as I've been channeling them. And I think with this special day of this very strong lunar eclipse, it will mean even more, as it's really working in that Scorpio energy down in that deep down energy. So
I think that, for me, connecting to my heart space is a focus of my attention, focus of my interest. I myself kind of shut my emotions down when I was a child, because I was so emotional that any trigger would make me cry. Any experience would make me cry. I didn't know how to handle the emotions, and so my response was I cried. And needless to say, and I've shared this before with others, but as a young boy in the States and in Guatemala, growing up with a lot of crying, it's not the easiest choices to make. And so at one point, and I remember very specifically, I had a situation with my brother and his friends that were teasing me, and I started crying, and I said, I can't do this anymore, and I'm never going to do this again. and it never
Mm.
happened again. And I made a mental choice. I made a decision. I am going to shut down this situation. And I didn't realize what I was doing at the time. No one in my life knew enough about energy and, empaths and energy sensitives to guide me through that, to walk me through it. So I basically shut myself down, and I didn't realize this until about 3 years ago, when I started looking in this direction, and everyone kept on saying, you need to open up your heart space to connect with spirit. And I'm like, I'm in my head. I live in my head. What do you mean my heart? What is the heart? And so this journey of understanding what it means to connect with the heart space is a journey for me. And I imagine for many of us listening. And so it's definitely a topic of interest for me as well. So
Yeah. Yeah, we all go into protection mode, especially when we're younger. We're not sure how to exist in this world. We're coming from this, this beautiful, loving oneness energy into this world that can be kind of mean at times. And so, I say don't beat yourself up too hard for kind of sheltering or putting that box up, because it was a way of protection. And when that ego starts to build up too, it's that protection piece that's there. And that's what it's there for, so I always tell people, I'm like, there's a reason why you did it, there's a reason why you went that direction, so now we can go the other direction, but don't be mad about it. Give gratitude for it and be thankful that it was there to assist you during that time in your life.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's a beautiful way of kind of bringing this up is, we make the choices that we make for our journey and our survival. It's our human is designed for survival, and so it's going to make choices and decisions to protect itself. And we are the spirit symbiotically combining with our human for this experience, and so it is part of our journey. We, as spirits, we chose this journey. We chose this human body because of its personality, because of its characteristics, because of its strengths and its weaknesses, so that we can learn and make choices from that point of view and that perspective. And so I love the idea of reminding us to be kind to ourselves with the choices that we made. And now that we're more aware of what we want to create with our lives, go in that direction, look in that direction.
For sure. Yep, absolutely.
So
should we get into it? Let them talk.
I was going to say, shall we? Shall we get going?
Yeah. As you remember from before, it will be conversational. So, as they have questions, or as they say, do you understand? Do you have questions? Definitely, respond, or we'll just sit here in dead silence for a while until they say, okay, we're going to move on. If there are questions from people, obviously my eyes will be closed and I'll kind of be tuned out, so they're not going to be able to read. If you want to, facilitate the questions, if you want to say, oh, for instance, Kelly, so you may have a question, go ahead and ask it. That's fine. It just has to come to me or to them audibly.
Yep.
So, any questions before I get started from you or anyone else?
Anybody have anything? I mean, I assume that we'll get you back afterwards and we can kind of chat afterwards as well.
Yeah. And then I can kind of explain and kind of go through, humanize anything that's come up.
So one of the things that I love about Katherine, and she shared this with us last time that she came on the show, is after she gets done with the channeling, she's still connected with the energy and the message that was coming through, so she can help to integrate it, and she calls it humanizing it. And then shortly thereafter, she forgets it. It disappears, which I just think is just beautiful. Interested how you connect with your mechanism. Good question, Sally.
I get asked this question a lot, and I really don't have a great answer for it, Sally. But what I'll tell you is, for me, now it's kind of like tuning into a different radio station. So it's kind of like in my mind or brain or in my vibration, I kind of just like turn that dial just to tune in. So it's clear. And then it just kind of lets them kind of run through. Otherwise it's kind of fuzzy, or I can still hear what they're saying. You know, like when you get a radio station and it, and they obviously, I'm showing my age, like everyone else may be on here too, but you know, you'd have to like get it just right and hear it clear. Otherwise it was fuzzy and you could hear it, you know what they were saying, but it wasn't exactly clear. And that's kind of how it is for me a lot of the times, where it's that fuzziness that I can kind of tune out, or it's white noise that I can just ignore. But when I get it exactly right, it's just kind of how it comes in. And I can't tell you how I do it. It's just kind of like a shift that I make that just kind of allows them to come in and through. And we go in and out pretty quickly. I know for some channelers it takes a while, or there's a lot of you know, process or rituals that they go through. For me, it's just kind of, it's kind of there, because I think they're always kind of on the sidelines. So did that kind of answer your question for you? I know it wasn't very clear because I don't really have a great answer. What did she say here? Do you think the connection is always there? Yes, I do believe that the connection is always there. I think as we grow as psychic beings or channelers or spiritual beings, is that the more we can get in alignment with that energy. So one thing as a channeler I've done is I really have been attuning my energy to not only the druids, but to higher level consciousnesses as well. And so as I'm doing that, I'm always kind of tuned into that frequency. I just have the decision if I want to be like truly tuned in and know what they're saying, or allowing them to speak through me, or if I kind of want to like turn it off or turn down the volume and not have any clue as to what's going on. But yeah, it is always there. And I think for everybody, it's always there. You know, everyone has, you know, intuition, or they get that gut feeling, or, you know, whatever you decide to call it, but that's still tuning in. So, okay. And that answered your second question. You're very welcome. So I love questions. Sometimes I feel like I'm like, are people getting what I'm saying? So I'm glad that that's.
Yeah, so we love interaction from you guys. So anything that you guys want to share and ask. From memory, last time that we had a conversation with the druids, they were very open to taking questions. So anything that comes up, just, you know, raise your hand or type it in the message, and I'll manage it from there.
They're very good with questions. Oh, the age, remember tuning in. Yeah.
Most of us are, at least, you know.
Most are, yeah. You're driving down the road and you got into the wrong frequency because of, you know, in the car, and it's like, oh, I lost that. So
yeah. So for you newbies that are joining us, that don't know what tuning in a radio station is, anyway, you're welcome to as well. You're welcome here as well. You know, we're not age discriminant.
Exactly.
Anyway, so Chiara has a question in terms of, and I know it doesn't really matter, and it's kind of an open, you know, they're very open, but Chiara would like to know what kind of questions they tend to like. Because I know that some channels have a preference for how the questions are asked, and, you know, that kind of thing.
They're pretty open to anything. If they really don't want to answer something, they'll kind of answer the question in a way that totally takes a left turn, and then you won't realize that they've taken that left turn until you get done with it, and you're like, wait a minute. But it'll be like tomorrow that you'll realize they didn't really answer what you wanted. And really that's because when they come through, it's for the level that the audience can understand. So it's just not for those of us that are on here today, but those people that they know are going to listen to it or watch it in the future. They're, you know, because there is no such thing as time and space. So they're already kind of working it from that perspective. You know, try to, you know, some parameters that could be helpful is try to keep things that are more earthly based. Like they'll talk about extraterrestrials, or they'll talk about that kind of thing, but it's not really their wheelhouse. Obviously they can tune into the energy. So if it's more earth based, more life purpose based, more you know, heart center or duality, that tends to be a little better. But I mean, if something's poking at you, ask away is my thought. You know, there's a reason why someone's poking at you, telling you to ask it. So, you know, maybe they'll give you a different perspective on it. That'll be helpful.
And you bring up a really good point that, again, I like bringing up early on in the season, we are all co-creating this experience. Those of you that are listening to this in the recordings, as well as those of you that are listening to it live, those of you that listen to it in the replay or the podcast or watch it on the YouTube channel, you are all collectively involved in the co-creation of this event. And so it's a beautiful awareness to kind of play with and think about, that you're listening to this years down the road and you had something to do with the creation of this on Friday, May 5th at 3:16 in the afternoon Eastern time. You know, it's cool to play with that. It's really cool to play with that. So anyway,
Absolutely. So
it's a lot of fun. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being with us and for co-creating this with us. And so anyway, so Katherine, whenever you're ready,
okay. For as each of you are here now and know and understand that as you are all sitting in this space, understanding the energy of what has been given, and that as the shifting of the planetary systems, the earth and the energy on it has been happening for some time, but is coming to a culmination very soon of an allowance of the newness to come through, the energy to be seen, to be shown, and to be absorbed. Whereas each being on the planet allows for this understanding that the shifting that is there, that there is an allowance for the reconnection of each being to the consciousness, to source, and to your higher self and all the beings that are out there. Whereas each being who lives on the planet Earth is connected to the energetic grid, and that energetic grid is there to ensure that all of the communication, all of the energy is given, is received, and moves around. And so it is about the balance of that. It is about the understanding of the balance of what is there and what has been, where when all of that is there and it is all coming through, it is being one with truly who and what you are. And a lot of that includes shedding of what no longer serves you. It is about not needing what is there, even though you may have held on to something for some time. It's about shedding what is no longer needed, or realigning it, or healing it, or shifting it to be in a better place. For when you can do that and show yourself more, pull out of your shell and stand strong, and allow your heart center to open up, to be broader, to be brighter, and to be connected to that energetic grid. For each being on the planet, including every human, animal, plant, being, consciousness, is connected to the energetic grid through the crown chakra, but also has the ability to connect through the heart chakra and that heart center. For when you can do that, it helps create that cyclical energy of the coming in and the going out. And it allows for that openness, that reconnection, and that peace that is there. For that is what is most necessary. For when you look at the heart center, which is the love energy, which is connected to it, which love is all source, it is all one, it is all the being of who has been and who will be. And that is important for each one to know, that when you can connect to that oneness energy, you know that what hurts you hurts someone else. What you've done to them does to someone else. And as long as everything is done with love and with peace and with gratitude, it is not felt as strongly. But it is important for those beings to know and understand that what is given and what can truly be there with what has been. Whereas all of this time is coming in, and all of this reconnection that is happening, as you can connect in with your true heart center of source, as that connects in with the divine feminine as well, as she is the maker of what has been and what will be, as she is the nurturer, she provides stability, love, and helps bring all forward. For she will come in to know and understand of what has been and what will be. And as all of these things are coming through, as all of these things are ringing true, when you can open up, when you can allow for your heart to feel, when you shed those emotions, you grieve, you give gratitude for each one of those things. Don't sit in regret for what is being lost or what you've done in the past. Instead, provide that gratitude and that understanding for what has been, what will be, and what will come to be one with who and what you are. Does that make sense thus far?
It does. Thank you.
Of course. So as you're coming into all of this, as you're reconnecting with who and what you are, as you ground down into the earth, but also stretch yourself up to be part of that better understanding of the consciousnesses, of the energy, of source, and of oneness of what is there. You also need to have this reconnection of being, this understanding of who authentically you are, what your soul's purpose is, what your soul's journey is. For when all of that comes together, it has the understanding, the peace, and the serenity to allow for you to shift and stand more in of your own light. When you let go of the judgments, the opinions, and the beliefs of others or yourself that no longer serve you, and you can look at all as one and all as a connection of trueness, of source, you will come to find that as all of these things are coming in, so is the peace, the serenity, and the divineness of what has been and what truly will be. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
So as you are being one, as you are connecting all with what you need to do and how you need to do it, call on your guides, call on those that have assisted you in the past, and all of the energies to help you move past this, to help you shift and open up not only your heart center, but your third eye, your crown, all of the chakras that are there, to let the energy flow in and flow back out. What questions do you have for us regarding what we've spoken of?
I know that you touched on this a little bit, but I would love for you to elaborate more specifically on the things that we can do to allow ourselves to open up our heart space, to connect with the heart space, because I know that's a challenge for many of us.
There is much that you can do, and it's different for each person. But some of the beginning things are to utilize the strongness of a color, to utilize the green, which is known to be the heart center color. Allow that to be shown. When you feel hurt and you feel yourself closing up, just say, let's leave it somewhat open. Feel the love coming from others, whether it be an animal, whether it be a friend, or whether it be nature or earth or whatever is there. But when you feel that, when you can tune into that energy, allow it to come in and allow it to come in through your heart center. To begin to open it up doesn't mean that you need to have it open all the time. Have it open when it works for you, when you feel safe and secure. Animals are the best at doing that, for they always provide that sense of love. That is one thing you can do. You can also work within meditation, or just when you feel an energy trigger or something that's coming to you, to lean into that energy you're feeling. When you lean into the energy and accept it and say, please allow me to understand. Please allow me to shift and to accept. When you shift and accept and allow it to come through, there will be a shift and a change on it. You will notice you will have a better understanding of why it's there. And you may decide that it no longer serves you, so you're going to let it go. Or you may decide you are going to keep it, or just realign it, or change it. But when you can do that with something that comes up, when you can allow for that change to be, you will come to find that it will make more sense to you with how this alignment is being held, and how this connection of what has been and what will be will make more sense. It is all about understanding love. For love, when you can give and receive unconditionally, when you can look at someone who's hurt you and understand their perspective, it does not mean you have to agree with it. It does not mean that you have to say that is okay now. But if you can understand their perspective and still give that love back to them and have an understanding that that is their place in time, and you may still choose to not associate with them anymore or be careful around them, but understand that every person is on a path and a journey of their choosing, and that they may get off that path, but it is about their learning and experience and growth as a soul. And so you have the same journey, but just in a different variation or a different way. Remember, you bring to you those that are at your same vibrational level. And you may say, there's no way, they're so different. But maybe at that moment in time, your level has dropped down because of something you're going through. So you bring someone to you that is not of your greatest good. But is it about understanding that there is a reason that you can shift that, re-raise your vibration, and have that separate? Understand it is not black and white. There's not firm rules on how this works. For each person, each being has so many different facets to them that you cannot even begin to comprehend how a lifetime is laid out. What could come, possibilities, other timelines, other things. But know that that's why you have free will and the ability to shift, the ability to make your decision. That if you're on a path that is not the path you came here to walk, you have the right and the ability to make that change, to make that shift, and to truly reconnect with who and what you are. Does that make sense and answer your question?
It does. It's beautiful. I appreciate it. Very simple, very approachable, very accessible. If you could also help to elaborate another term that is used in this conversation that for me was difficult and still is to some degree to recognize. As a human, my understanding of the word love is attached and associated with intimacy, with partners, with family. When spirit talks about love, it's a broader perspective. And I would love for you to help us understand when you speak of the idea of recognizing and connecting with the energy of love. Can you talk a little bit more about that aspect?
Love is all. Love is source energy. Love is what creates what is here and what everything is made from. For yes, the human existence of love and belief is that it's from family, it's from friends, it's a partnership, it is that intimate relationship. And that is true. But this love that is spoken of in this level is at a much higher understanding. So when you understand what oneness is, what source energy is, that is love. And so you can love another person that you don't know, or someone who's done you wrong, because you understand that their journey is your journey. Now, that is a different love than what a mother feels for a child, or what two partners or spouses feel for each other. That is different. That is at a different, another perspective of love. But it is still love. There's just other levels that are put on top of that. And so when, as a mother would nurture a child, would protect a child, would ensure that they can grow up and they can understand, that is different than what it would be to love your neighbor, who you may protect, but in a different way. You may say, you may want to be careful of this. I just saw this coming towards you. And they go, oh gosh, thank you. But to a child, a mother may grab them and move them aside so they are not injured or hurt. It is all about the different levels. And levels may be the wrong term because it's not a hierarchy. It does not mean one love is better than another. But when you can understand that perhaps this is a better way, that love among all is at one place, but then you have these different facets of love or different colors or connections. Because part of a soul contract between a mother and a child is all about that understanding that the mother will assist the child in growing up, that they will support them, that they will assist them. And we know there can be variations where the child may not stay with the mother, or there may be other things. But as you look at this, that there are these contracts and these things that are laid out. So the bonds have to be even tighter and even closer. They may be from the same soul family. There may be karma that is attached to them. There may be other things that are coming in that are allowing for even that to be energy to be more intertwined and a stronger whole. Which in a way, when it's a stronger whole, when something does not go as someone expects or someone is hurt, it hurts even more because that tightness is so there, and it's almost like the cord begins to rip. Whereas if your neighbor you do not know, something happens, the cord is cut, and you go, okay, well, I'm just going to move on. There aren't those continual ties. But love is oneness, and love is all. And when you can look at everything with love or gratitude, where gratitude is a part of love, when you can give thanks and appreciation for what is there, it is also saying, I love what has been provided. I love what is there. And so you're thanking that with the same thing. So love can be the overarching, but there are different aspects, theories, and levels to it that don't make it good or bad, but just make it part of the human experience. Was that clear for you?
Yes, it is. And I love that you mentioned the idea of appreciation, because one of the questions that I had as I was trying to connect with my heart space and connect with this meaning and feeling of love was an idea of, when I see a beautiful flower, to recognize that that appreciation is love. And so are there any other ideas or similar recommendations that you can give us for people that are trying to connect with their heart space and get a deeper appreciation of what love means for them? Are there other techniques or suggestions or games that we can play to help us wake up to that a little bit more?
Well, the first thing to love something else is you have to love yourself. You have to give appreciation for the body that you chose to incarnate into. Give appreciation for the ego that has been there to protect you, the inner child and all the versions of that were there, their experiences, the past lives and the places you've been and will go. When you can truly love yourself, when you can appreciate who you are, be excited and happy for who you've become. Even if it's not exactly who you want to be. But when you can do that, when you can have that understanding of that, that is when you will continue this reconnection. And that will open up the love even stronger. Because those that do not understand how to receive love do not know how to give love. Or you can say to someone, I love you. But that doesn't mean that you truly feel that. You are saying something that was expected. The same way you say to a child, tell them you're thankful for what they gave you, and they go, thank you. It doesn't mean the child felt it. They're just saying the words because that's what is expected. It is about the feeling that comes through. It's about saying I love you with feeling your heart going out and feeling that love exuding from you towards that other person. But if you cannot truly feel love yourself, if you cannot feel that true source energy that is pure love, that is you, for each being on the planet is pure love. If you cannot feel that in you or as part of you, that is where there's going to be this difference. That is where this is going to change. So when you can understand that, when you can understand the peace, the serenity, and all that is there, you will know and understand that all has been and all will be, because you know what love is and you love yourself. and you can provide that to others. Was that clear for you?
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. So there's a couple questions, if you're okay, kind of going in a different direction. Does it feel like a good place for us to shift, or is there more that you would like to share about this subject before we change?
We can make a shift.
Beautiful. So Chiara is speaking about her relationship with her aunt, who seems to be approaching transition. And she would love to have you guys elaborate something about the process that we humans go through to get ready to journey back home, something that might assist her with her understanding of her aunt's transition.
When a soul is ready to transition out of the human experience, it is about getting the alignment of the soul and the mind and the body all in one. For the transition can happen immediately. For instance, the body dies, the heart stops, there's a car accident, there's something else. That is an immediate, but that was an understanding of the soul and the subconscious mind to know that this was going to be happening. When it is a slower process, that is when there is this pulling back and forth of either the mind or the soul or the body going, well, how are we going to make this work? It is about comforting all of them and letting them know that the peace is coming. Any type of energy healing which can help calm the body down is good. Ask the higher self of the body to let go, or for the soul to let go, depending upon who is holding on. Is it the mind, the soul, or the body? Bodies can take some time to slowly shut down. They are machines. The same way when you turn off an engine, you still, after you turn it off, might hear some of the belts moving as it is finishing up. The body works in a similar way. It needs to slowly shut down if it is going through the death process on its own. And so, when the soul and the mind are involved, they have to be in tandem and in agreement. For if a mind says, no, I don't want this to happen, and it's fighting, that is when the body may try to stick around longer, for the mind is controlling it. The soul may have left the body and is just there on the outskirts waiting for it, for it will not leave, for that was the vessel it came in, and it loves the body it created. And it will wait until that body has shut down to make the shift. It is why people are seen to be very different when they are in the last moments of death or hours of death, that they may not seem to be who they were. Many times it's because the soul has already left. Soul is still there next to the body, but it is not working inside the body as it was before. And it is a battle of life and death. You may also find that the soul holds on and stays and has this hope that it will continue to be part of the body. Even though it knows it must leave, it may not have completed what it needs to do, so it makes that shift. Understand that the death process needs to be celebrated the way the birth process does. For when a child is born, that soul is coming into that body and being born. And it is charting this wonderful journey of life. And there is much celebration, much happiness for that soul and that baby coming in. But the death process is the exact same. It is the soul exiting and going back, just the source energy. And it is the body that is going back into the earth. As that baby's body came from the earth, made from its mother and father, it then will leave the earth and go back into the earth in whatever form that it is decided, whether it is buried, whether it is cremated, whether it is used in a different way, whatever it is, it will be given back. So just know and connect in with what your loved one needs. Where are they at? How can you assist them? And how can you make this transition as beautiful as when they came into life? For don't grieve the loss of them. Celebrate their next journey. Celebrate what they learned here, the time they were here, And know they are not separated from you, but they are one with you. They are connected with you, and they are truly peace with you. Is that helpful or clear for you?
I thought that was beautiful. Chiara, feel free to ask a follow-up question if you're good. You're good? Yes. Yeah, she's good. So the next question is from Kelly. Is the sun's activity providing us more information to move into higher levels of consciousness? Will these solar storms continue through a cycle? And should we be preparing in some way?
The sun is the giver of life. The sun provides that light, that pure knowledge and source that it's been given. And yes, there are things that are happening in the atmosphere, but part of it is due to the earth had to readjust its axis. That as the vibrations were increasing, it was slightly off kilter, so it just slightly adjusted to be more in tune. And when it did that, it shifted much of the energetic planetary systems that were there. The same way that if you take something, for instance, say a basketball that is spinning on your finger, and you move it this way instead of this way, that obviously it's going to have a difference in how your muscles of your hand work. It'll change the trajectory, the air around it, all of that. The same is being said for the atmosphere and all of the energies around. And so there are things you can do to prepare, but as long as you just allow the energy to come in, you won't need to. Because as these things are coming in, it is allowing for a better connection, is allowing for a better understanding. And know that Mother Earth will always protect herself. She will always protect all of her children on it, as each human is also her children, as well as the plants, the animals, and others. That you may say, but didn't at one time all life end on Earth to begin again? And yes, there have been different times where there have needed to be a new Earth that comes in. But that is not the case right now. The shifting is happening at a decent rate, and it is happening in a positive way. Of course, there is duality on Earth, so there's those things that are trying to stop it, hold it back. But don't worry about what you can't control. Don't worry at all, for worry only brings lower vibrational attachments to you. Be grateful for who you are and what you have. Allow your knowledge to soar, and know all will be there and all will be right. Is that helpful for you?
Yes, thank you. That was beautiful. Kelly's is satisfied with the answer as well. Chiara just wanted to do a follow-up, appreciating your answer. She felt overwhelmed by the answer and needed to take a few minutes to respond. So she just wanted to thank you guys.
Of course, you're always here.
So while there's no other questions at this point, but again, feel free, anybody that's listening, to share some questions if you like. I would love to kind of explore this idea of what we can do with you a little bit more. My friend Shannon Johnson, who's going to be joining us in the following session, the last time she and I had a communication with her spirit team, they talked about how we as individuals can help our planet by transmuting the energy, as opposed to sending the energy into Gaia for her to transmute it. We can start to take on that task of transmuting the energy ourselves to assist Gaia more actively. Is there something that you can share about that could help us and help our transition more effectively?
Transmuting the energy is just changing your thought process. It's changing your understanding, giving gratitude, peace, calmness, and understanding. When you think in those vibrational terms, it's already transmuting the energy. So when you can shift and have a different belief, understanding, and vibrational pattern, that is already transmuting the energy that is going back into Gaia. So there's nothing you need to do, so to speak. You humans always want to have this big thing that needs to happen. There's nothing you need to do. Instead, there are things that you can allow for, that as you yourself are transforming, are raising your vibration, are not looking at the person next to you with judgment or opinion, or saying, they shouldn't do that. They shouldn't throw that in the street. That is littering. Yes, it is not good for Earth, but instead saying, I don't understand where they are on their journey, and obviously this is not a good moment for them, for they don't see the appreciation, the kindness, and the love that Gaia has provided with us. Just that shift in vibration allows for that energy to be transmuted. And instead of you continuing to give off negative energy back to her that she has to transmute, you've given it love, you've allowed. For we've said before, every human on the planet would take just one moment to give gratitude to Mother Earth, to give gratitude for the life they have, the ability to have an existence, and be grateful for that. All would change, all would improve, and the issues you believe you have would no longer be there. Was that helpful for you in answering your question?
Beautiful. Yeah, I got very emotional, so it's hard for me to speak right now. I don't know if anybody else that's listening is feeling the meaning behind the words, but I just got very emotional, and I just had a little bird show up on my windowsill. Appreciation. So thank you for sharing that. That was beautiful.
Anything else you have for us today?
Anybody else in the conversation want to ask a question? While you guys are thinking about that, can you speak a little bit more about, let me rephrase that. I love that you said that the progress that we're making is going well, and I'm using different words because I've heard some people talk about, I've heard some channels talk about how we're moving slower than expected. And there's others that say that we need to, work harder, faster. And I don't necessarily, that's not the impression that I get from the conversations that I have with Spirit, but I would love to get your perspective on, like you say, we love knowing that there's things that we can do when we like being involved in the process. And so those of us that are aware of this shift and this change that we are helping to bring into this experience, I would love for you to give us a little bit more information around kind of where we're at, how we're doing, what else we can do beyond what you've said about just allowing ourselves to expand within ourselves, and that in and of itself is enough. But I would love for you to elaborate on that a little bit more.
Stop worrying about everything else. When you can focus on yourself, how you exist, your vibrational alignment, how you treat others, and how you live within love, that is all that you need to do to allow others to feel that shift. The same way as when you walk down the street and you see someone and smile, and it's a genuine smile, and you go, oh, well, that made me feel good today. You didn't say anything. You both kept walking. It felt like an exchange of energy. That is a stronger impact than setting up a chair on the street and saying hello to every single person who walks by, because it wasn't given from the heart. The way just walking down the street and smiling was. That was a true energy exchange. So many humans are trying to fix everything. Why do you need to fix? Nothing's broken. Instead, you just might need to realign. You just might need to shine it up. And when you fix something or believe something's broken, you are looking at it with judgment. You're looking at it with opinion. And that is not in a positive way. You can have an opinion on something. You can say, well, I see that we have a park that needs to be cleaned up, and I believe it should. And so I will assist in cleaning that up. But if someone goes by and drops a piece of paper and walks away, you just send them love so that they understand that that is something that may be part of what they needed in that day, but it wasn't appreciated. You don't say that person is just rude. Doesn't he understand we're cleaning up the park and he's making it even a bigger mess and it's more work for us? That just pulls everything down. But if you and all the other people cleaning up the park can increase your own vibration, he's going to walk through the park and not drop the paper because he's going to realize, oh, I shouldn't do that. That's all in tune. That's all innate. So just focus on how you can become the better version of yourself, how you can become authentically you and live within love. And when you are able to do that, when you are able to have that connection with what has been, that is when you will notice and you will find that you have what is needed, that you have all that has been, and you will truly come to grow and see things in a much different light. Did that answer your question?
It does. Thank you. And Keith is asking, is there such a thing as blocking energy, an energy that seems to block the path of which you speak? And if so, can you say more about it, or indeed, quote unquote, blocks in general? Thank you.
Yes, there's always blocks there. And they can be put usually by yourself in the way. It is a reason why you cannot do something. It is a reason that cannot happen. It can also be a block that is put there by the ego or a past life or karma that you need to get around and get over. And so a lot of those are how you heal, how you release, or how you realign. Blocks are not a bad thing. They allow for the growth of the soul. Because when you can understand them and when you can get past them, you are stronger and greater than you ever were before. So don't look at them as bad. Look at them as learning opportunities. Look at them as how you can understand. But if you see one and you get through it and you get past it, don't toss it in front of you again. Because then that means that you didn't truly understand the lesson. You just toss it forward. Like kicking the can is what you say. Don't push it forward to deal with it later. Lean into that energy, feel that energy, understand it, love it, and then you will see it will dissipate and it will no longer be on your path. Is that helpful for you?
Keith, let us know if there's anything else that you want to ask about that, any follow-up questions. So thank you for that. Really appreciate everything that you've shared. Sally mentioned that she's really appreciating the clear messages and thanks you. So a lot of appreciation all around.
We are happy to be here.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with us before we bring this conversation to an end for now?
No, that is all. We've given you much to think about today.
Beautiful. Always an honor to be in your presence and to have you come in and play in our space. Thank you again for, as Sally put it, the clarity of your messages. Really, really appreciate it. Heartfelt.
Of course. And we wish that.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Do you need to take a moment?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay.
I'll take a moment when we're done.
I know some people need to kind of like get back into their body, but you seem to come in kind of like thrown in.
Yeah, I get kind of tossed back. It's like, it's like they pull out and it's like, whoa, okay, got to fill this space again.
Yeah.
So,
It's
yeah.
fun. It's always fun to see how different people interact with their channeling process.
Yeah, for sure. So what can I help clarify? Any questions that you have or anybody has?
Yeah. Anybody have any questions or follow-ups or anything? Catherine's still connected to them and they're still present. So if there's any other questions, she can tap in and consciously channel their answer as well. So there's a lot of options that are available to you guys that are here with us live. I don't have anything myself, Catherine, to be honest with you. Interestingly enough, in twice as they were answering, I felt their answer, not in words, but I felt their answer. And that's a new experience for me as I'm learning to tap more and more into my own awareness and energy. I was told that because I'm so much in my head, one of the things that I can do is pay less attention to the words and my understanding of what's being said and connect more with how I feel about what they're saying, how I feel about what is being communicated. What's the feeling that I have within the message? And so I've been trying to turn that up a little bit more. And I was really encouraged to feel their answer. Like I said, I got really emotional in one of their answers. I almost started crying. The emotions were so strong. So that was a really cool experience for me.
Yeah, they're getting stronger in being able to reach out to others so others can feel the energy. So yeah, like everything you guys are feeling, I'm feeling, 100 times more. So this was very much a healing experience for me. This was it was good. So I'm glad you guys
Beautiful.
felt.
So Kelly is saying the answers were so infused with love and compassion, so appreciative.
Well, I'm happy to be able to provide that to you.
Yeah.
So
let me ask you a question, which is something that I've played with on my own, and I've also spoken to a couple other people about this as well. But it's kind of a learning opportunity for people that are listening about channeled messages. And maybe the druids can kind of speak to this as well. But the druids are speaking through you. And so there's a collaboration there where it isn't just them answering our questions. You're also part of that. This is when you're channeling them, you're involved in the answers as well, even if your consciousness isn't there. That's my impression. That's my understanding. And I would love to get your perspective on that and see if there's anything that the druids can share about that for people that are learning to channel themselves and looking to better understand this relationship between spirit and the channel and the channeler and that kind of thing.
So how it works for me, and I'll say it might work differently for other people, so don't use this as a hard and fast, but how it works for me is that it's almost like I have all of these downloads in my head. And I get downloads all the time. And when they are channeling, it's like they're opening up these files. And it's just like all of this information is just like you probably remember in the cartoons, this will date us again, like when they'd open up a binder and like all of the papers would fly out or something. Yeah, it was just that that's kind of like what it feels like. It's like all of these pages are coming out and it's known to me. And so not that I know exactly everything that's there, but I can reopen up that file very quickly. The same way when I conscious channel or when I'm tuned into them, like I'll just say something, I'll be like, man, how did I know that? Or I'll hear something, I'll be like, oh yeah, I knew that. Because it's another file that's opening up. So I may consciously, like right now, I couldn't say, oh, well, I've got a download on X, Y, and Z I can talk to you about. But if you ask me about a topic, it's like a computer. Like I go click on the file and go, oh yeah, here it is. Like it's all there for me to know and understand. So I mean, I firmly believe that, well, I know that I chose to come into this lifetime um to do this work. Um I didn't need to do another lifetime. So I question sometimes why I showed back up again. But I know that it is part of increasing the vibration of the earth, that I agreed to work with the Druids. Yes, I'd been a Druid in the past. I had a connection, but it's not my soul family. My soul family is more angelic. It's more of that earth angel type energy, as who I've really been connecting with lately. And so it's an allowance for just this growth. And I'm still a human. I'm still, going through all of my stuff and traumas and all of that. But it's about, I'm trying to see things from the bigger picture. And so as I'm going through that, the information that they're giving me through channeling, like today, or when I work one-on-one with a client, or, just when I'm talking with friends, it's all part of that experience for me and that opening up. So, did that answer your question?
It did, but it didn't. And so what I was kind of pointing to is, for example, when the comments say that was really clear and the answer was infused with love and compassion, what I'm looking to kind of point out to the listeners is that is because of Katherine. It isn't because of the Druids. It's because of Katherine that it allows the Druids to do that and to share that and to communicate that. And so one of the things that I'm looking to do as well is to give credit to the channeler, not just the channelee. So it isn't just about, the Druids coming in with this amazing energy, but it's the Druids have this amazing energy because they have Katherine as a vehicle through which they can communicate that amazing energy. And so there's a lot of value and appreciation to you, Katherine, for the beauty and the clarity and the depth of emotion that the Druids are able to communicate with us through you. And so that's what I was kind of
ready to. Well, thank you.
Connecting.
Yeah, thank you for that, because when you put it in that way, it is. I mean, I've had to raise my vibration. I've had to reattune. I've had to, do all these things on my journey to be able to give them this vessel that is in alignment to them. And so, yeah, so I appreciate that. Thank you. Because I always say it's their message, it's their information, but yeah, I do play a part. Without me,
it's one of the things that it's interesting because I've been, I don't know if I don't remember if you've been present to my sessions when I'm channeling or not, and I apologize if you have, and I just haven't noticed. But when I channel, I'm still very much active in the conversation, even if my eyes are closed and they're speaking through me. It feels like I'm the one that's speaking, and so it's really hard for me to separate and say, yeah, that was clearly Yeshua, and that wasn't me. And what the information that I was given, it just kind of popped in my head a few days ago, was that part of what I'm being shown is that it's the same thing. Part of what I'm being shown is that the reason that I am, quote unquote, not able to disassociate myself as a trance channeler is because part of what I am here to learn and to communicate is this idea that it isn't a separation. It isn't about me leaving and them taking over my body. It's that we're combining energies and the answer is coming through and the meaning is coming through, but it's very much influenced and connected to me as Daniel, as the human energy of Daniel and the soul of Daniel. The energy space of Daniel is part of the communication, part of the answer, part of the process. And there's a lot of value in that as people that are learning to channel, giving yourself credit for the fact that this couldn't happen without you, and it would be different if it wasn't you. And so there's an element of that I just wanted to bring up again for the listeners and for those of us that are learning to channel. We all do it differently. And what I'm being shown is that there's a lot of appreciation and value about the relationship of the channel and the channeling, or the channeler, however you want to play it. Like Yeshua in a channeled message the other day said to the group, but I think it was really directed to me. I could feel that it was directed to me, was that I'm not channeling Yeshua. Yeshua is channeling me. And that was like, that's an interesting point of view. So Katherine isn't channeling the Druids. The Druids are channeling Katherine. And that's what's coming through. That's what's showing up. So it's a beautiful kind of perspective of the relationship that we are developing with our spirit team and our spirit friends, and the symbiotic nature of this collaboration that we are sharing with you guys. And so I wanted to bring this up and to show my appreciation for you as Katherine, as you know, the work that you do in making this possible. You're not just an empty vessel that they speak through. And I just want to bring that up, because a lot of people have this idea that as a channeler, I'm not involved and it's just Yeshua's energy that's speaking, or the Druids that's speaking. It isn't. Right. It isn't that simple. There is a symbiotic relationship where Katherine is involved and a major part of how the message is delivered.
Absolutely, very much.
Awesome. So guys, I don't know if there's anything else that you guys want to bring up. Feel free to ask questions. Katherine, if there's anything else that you want to share or kind of talk about.
No, if anybody has any questions, otherwise I think I've given a lot of information already.
So if there's any kind of last minute questions, please feel free to, again, raise your hand or put it in the chat. Let's talk about how people can work with you, especially for people that are listening to this afterwards and may not have access to the website and, all of the information there. So you talk about how you offer this kind of, meet the channel opportunity where it's a conversation. Can you talk a little bit more about what people can expect if they're interested in reaching out to you and connecting to you in this way?
Yeah, so that session is a 20-minute session where really I, let people get to know me. They may say, hey, this is kind of what I'm going through, what direction of working with you might be best. I'm all about making sure that my clients feel like I'm a good fit for them, and vice versa. And so, I'm all about get to know me, make sure this makes sense. And so that 20 minutes is just get to know me, understand how I work, how it connects with you. If there's any questions, it's kind of just like an open forum, where I can, answer the questions they have about me or what the journey they're going through. I don't channel during it, but, I'm still kind of a little bit tuned in, and it can help lead them on a path of, okay, yeah, we'll go down this path, it might be more coaching, it might be more channeling, or, hey, there's an awesome resource that I think would be a great fit for you. I'll send you the, the link or the name to that person. Yeah, I just want to support people on their journey and let them go. So that is an offer you can find. I think you've got the link, Daniel, and it's also on my website. So you can go in and just go ahead and book some time.
So for those of you that are listening afterwards, the website is thechanneledsource.com. And again, it will be in the description of whatever platform you're listening to this at. For those of you that are listening to this via the CSVS season, the special invitation link takes you directly to the page on her website where that registration for that 20-minute session exists. So I've kind of shortcutted it for you. For those of you that go to her website afterwards, it is, let me see if I can find it, because it took me a little while to find it. It is under the, I don't remember how I got to it. Anyway, you'll find it.
About section. Yeah, it's under about. You can.
It's in the about section. That's right. It's in the about section. Beautiful.
Yep. But if you have questions, shoot me a comment through the website, and I can send you the link to it as well.
Yeah.
So.
Beautiful. Thank you for again coming to play with us. It's always an honor and a pleasure to play with you as well.
Thank you
So
very much. Appreciate everyone listening and being part of the live one. So thank you again for inviting me back.
absolutely. And you'll be invited back again.
Okay.
So for those of you that are with us, the next session is going to be at the top of the hour at 5 o'clock Eastern time. If you guys are able to join us for that, that's going to be Shannon Johnson. She's been with us before. She's a good friend of mine. So definitely recommend it. And until next time, I will leave you with being spirit, being human, and simply being from love. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. Thank you for being part of this incredible experience. We hope that this session has inspired a new level of understanding within you, allowing you to expand more easily into the essence of your true self and become an even more powerful alchemist in your own life. We invite you to listen to the session again and again in order to go deeper each time and expand even more. Have it be via the replays or the unlimited access package. If you have enjoyed being part of this event, we invite you to tell your friends so that they can join us in the future. We are grateful that you are here, and we thank you for co-creating this experience with us. Until next time, we leave you with being spirit, being human, and simply being from love.